This is Battlefield REDSEC. We're here on the base PlayStation 5, taking a look at the free-to-play Battle Royale experience that is now available. So this is basically its own standalone downloadable thing that is in the menus of Battlefield 6, and then I guess you would say, oh, that's not good. Went a little too hard there, my bad. Or it's like a parasitic attachment to Battlefield 6. So you can download it and just play this without having Battlefield 6, or if you have Battlefield 6, it's just kind of in there and you can get rid of it if you want. Which is kind of neat and interesting. It's basically what they did with Call of Duty Warzone, same sort of thing in the COD headquarters, and that's what we're just dealing with here in the Battlefield headquarters in Warzone. That's considered REDSEC. Anyways, yeah, it's a massive Californian black site, Fort Linden. At the current point in time, I mean, obviously they might evolve things and add stuff and change things over time. Hard to say. Obviously these things get events, maps change, blah blah blah, new maps, everything like that. You know how it goes. So you drop in large-scale combat. It basically looks, it plays the exact same as Warzone, except you can like destroy walls and break things and, you know, cause all kinds of mayhem as you attempt to survive and make your way through the various locations and such that you will find along the way, with some neat adjustments that you can make as you upgrade your gear while gathering tools and weapons, and then you can, you know, have better, I guess you would call them attachments to guns that you find as you continue to get better and better weapons along the way. It's quite an interesting... Sorry, one second, I'm just kind of looking at the menu thing. Makes a lot more sense than it does on Xbox. Because that one you have to hold the circle down for stuff. So we got SVK and we've got a SG. Okay. Hey, that's the MCOM thing. Okay, that's kind of funny. Just hearing that sound, I was like, oh yeah. Anyways, yeah, this is an interesting change up for Intel case. An interesting change up for Battlefield as it's trying to do something a little bit different and a little bit unique, while still retaining that sort of course concept of gameplay. So why was I struggling with that so much? It's hilarious. What is interesting though is that we basically have an experience, AK kind of thing, and we get like a scope on that. Yeah, I think I'd actually like that more once I upgrade this. It's interesting because like the core of it, it's the Battlefield 6 gameplay with Apex Legends drop-in and like mechanics thrown in, mixed with a copy of Warzone, but set against a much cooler sort of California type environment of all-out warfare as these giant wildfires slowly come in and start to attack you, or well, you know, destroy you over the course of the game while you're fighting with others. There is a strange focus on vehicular combat with, like, and I know it's like, oh, Battlefield, that's strange, but no. It is weird though, because like the whole meta kind of thing of the game seems to be to get armor and then fight each other like a tank. And like not armor as in like a vest or something, but armor as in like a tank, and then that's kind of the core gameplay mechanic. And a lot of the time I've just seen squads get wiped by them, but it does seem like as the game continues to be out, that more strategies are sort of developing. I'd love to have MP5, but it doesn't fit into my gameplay here. It does seem like people are preparing to just sort of do that, but like it's weird, because in Warzone, you're fighting to get loadout drops, and then in this, you're fighting to get a tank, not a drop, but to open up a tank kind of thing, a tank storage, and then that's kind of like the gameplay meta. It's very peculiar and quite a bit strange. Okay, let's talk about the technical stuff for a sec here. We've been playing on the balance mode, which is the quality mode. It is a full 4K resolution at 60 FPS, but internally it's 1080p and sub as far as visual quality. There is also the option, if you have a high frame rate display, to switch the game to a higher preset, which is what I would recommend if you are able to do so. There's also FOV options, weapon FOV options, film grain, etc., etc. Mouse and keyboard support, controller support, obviously, because it's a console game. So the performance mode is providing with you what a weird way to phrase that. A performance that is 4K, but internally it's 1080 or less with some deformed visual aesthetics. Like, it's actually quite a bit lower, and it is attempting to be 120 FPS, and it ranges more towards the 90 FPS marker as far as visuals go. I would say that this does look blurrier here when targeting the higher frame rate, but it does provide a visual experience and a fluidity experience that allows you to compete better against people that are playing with high frame rate setups. So you will probably want to go this way. So the settings from a technical standpoint are the exact same as they are on the Battlefield 6 core experience, just a little blurrier because obviously the sense of scale is larger here. But I thought I would go over it from, you know, just a base standard setup because I know a lot of people will probably be playing this from a free-to-play perspective and may not have any sort of... Is that the G30? B36A4. Yeah, I like this gun better. Yeah, we'll be playing this from a perspective of just the free-to-play, so I wanted to make sure I was going over all the technical stuff for those unfamiliar with it. So this does retain the Battlefield class systems, where there is, you know, different classes that do different or serve different levels of functionality. So that is something to keep in mind. That will impact your gameplay. Incendiary shotgun or the airburst. Like a grenade launcher or a fire shotgun. I find the fire shotgun does a little bit more nastier damage in close range when that does come up, so that is what I will choose to use for this battle situation. But yeah, you do have the class-based systems. The classes do impact things. I find the medic class is a lot less important in this version of Battlefield 6, so I've switched to using the assault class because I find that gives me the best benefits from a gameplay standpoint. But of course you can use whatever classes and everything you want. Just saying, they do actually serve some level of functionality within the game beyond the scope of just existing. So they do impact things and your benefits and whatnot. I will say the system where you upgrade your various weapons, like I've been showing, is actually kind of cool. I like that they've done that. The gameplay itself works absolutely fine. I find it intriguing. I find the concept of the gameplay to be quick, fun, and exciting. At the same time, I don't really necessarily feel like we're getting anything completely different from what we've seen prior. I know some might feel that that is the case here, but I will say the most exciting thing from a perspective for me is the fact that when you play this, you can, if there's somebody, say, hiding behind walls or anything like that in a building, you do get the option to kind of destroy them, right? As to say, you can actually go in there and basically take out walls and eliminate opponents as a little bit more dynamic than what you would get in, say, another Battle Royale that doesn't have the destruction. I also love, as I mentioned, the visual vibe and aesthetic of this kind of being this Californian area. It just feels more colorful, vibrant, and alive, as opposed to something like REDSEC, which is very sterile and gray and kind of aged feeling, but you know, that's what people like in that game, right? So it is nice to be in something that feels more of a familiar city state as opposed to, you know, the other setups we've had from other Battle Royales. It also feels more visually impressive, and the art direction stuff's a little bit more engaging. I always kind of assumed someday we'd get games that kind of did this sort of thing, like a downtown. I was assuming we'd eventually have like skyscrapers and stuff, but wow, I think my teammates just kind of flung me off the building there, which is great. But yeah, it's not necessarily fun to go through skyscrapers because they're endlessly tall, but I could see that eventually being a thing. With more player counts, more crazier action, and more stuff going on, I could see that being an eventual sort of thing we get for video games. But this one does have a good amount of buildings you can actually go in, some different levels of verticality to it as well that I find interesting. And the premise of this one is neat. I mean, we will have to see the long-term concepts that they're going for, how much this evolves, because these games really do seem like artillery strike or an airstrike. Oh, that's not good.
Get over to that waypoint.
Why do I always burn myself when I do this? Yeah, I just find the whole concept of it to be quite interesting. And something that they can definitely build from nicely. Did I get flanked by someone? Because there's no way the other guy came back. And then, of course, like all... Can't believe I lost my good gun and stuff. That actually sucks. Like with all battle royales these days, nobody can just accept dying. So we always, like... You can have, like, a redeploy unless you get too far into the game. Usually it just allows you to redeploy, or someone can go to a redeploy point. I was going to say, like, most casual games, if you die right away, they let you come back in, and that's what this one does, but I think we're past that point, I just didn't realize it. It was good that this player was still alive and was able to go and do this sort of a thing, to go bring our team back. Hopefully. Or never mind, it's over. That sucks. Sucks to suck. Alright, the battle wages on. We've got a new squad, we've got a new team, and we're getting ready to jump with this overly dramatic setup. I can't wait till they eventually add the silly characters like Beavis and Butthead and stuff, and we do this whole circle and dance just like we did with Warzone back in the day. Anyways, yeah, no, it's a neat concept. The giant fire stuff, the wildfires, I guess, of California coming in on you as you're trying to escape, and the dangerous element of them is kind of neat. And yeah, there's a lot to. There's a lot to this. It's quite interesting. It's also strange to see a battle royale come in so late into the game. I know we've seen, well, not as in Battlefield 6, but you know, the battle royale genre as is, considering how developed and matured it is. With sort of the last sticking ones have really kind of been there. Like, many have died and vanished over the years, so it is kind of fascinating to see another company approach and try this. We did get Firestorm with Battlefield 5, which was quite a long time ago, and Battlefield 2042 was famously supposed to be a battle royale. So it is, and you know, they pivoted at the last moment into a, you know, the game that we saw today for 2042, and then they had to redo it all. So it is interesting to see them coming back and like trying this again, and I'm really just curious to see what's going to happen with it. That's the biggest thing. I always look at these and I'm like, okay, how are people going to react? These are great pergolas. What is, you know, what's the end game scenario? I also love, as far as other battle royales go, this one does seem to have the most level of detail within the different rooms and such, which is kind of neat. Like, you don't really see that a whole lot with other battle royales. It's usually pretty quiet, calm, empty sort of room environments you're going through, and these ones actually seem to have clutter and things going on as if it was somewhat of a real place, even though we're totally randomly just going into California and doing this. But yeah, you get what you get, right? Yeah, I don't know, I'd say I kind of like what this is, what it's offering, and the gameplay of it. And it's also, like, the evolution of these is quite fascinating, because it's something where it's out, and I'm sitting here, I'm talking about it, I'm covering it, and going over everything. But the game you see today, and the game you might be playing, and taking a look at this later down the road when you're coming back to this, are going to be very, very different experiences. Like, these do change a ton. I would prefer if they do push towards maybe, I guess you would say from a scope perspective, a little less of a focus on armor, I think would be great. Is it gonna like a mortar? Cool. This seems like an interesting and odd thing. I'm kind of like, oh, it's kind of a peculiar thing. Because I feel like it'd be too much work to actually set this up. If that makes sense, like in the midst of combat and battle and stuff, I don't know how well that would fit in, but it's a neat concept. Yeah, and man, the terrain and everything like this is so cool. It's intriguing. I'm very curious to see if they're going to do a similar thing with, say, Warzone to kind of compete with this as far as updating or changing the visuals and stuff. Or if this one will also get like different maps and stuff down the road too, to kind of continue to evolve it in seasonal events. I think I kind of mentioned it, but yeah, that's, you know, you go in as quads here, but it can also be... Oh, our guy's dead. Quads, but it can also be duos, and there's like the gauntlet, but they couldn't, you know, potentially change things up further. If they wanted to, right?
Need smoke now.
And they could evolve this, and they could do different types of player counts and stuff fighting. And where is that coming from? Oh, he's right there. Hmm. Oh, he's dead. Okay, that's good. Couple defib, or a defib and some ammo and stuff. I ain't complaining. And then there's all these like secondary mission things you can do while you're playing on the side there, and you get different rewards. As I said, a lot of it, and I think that meta will evolve further too, a lot of it seems to be focused on getting armor through various tasks. Should probably get out of the range of the, you know, mortars there, buddy. I mean, you can see it on the map that there's mortars going down. You should have tried to run out of there. It looks cool though, right? The explosives and all that going off. It's like... Yeah, I definitely see the potential that they're going for with this. The usual useless kind of like ladder thing. Well, maybe it'll come in handy, I don't know. I'm just so used to doing the medic type thing in Battlefield. It's quite a big change up for me to not be pursuing that sort of a noble thing of healing people in that, right? And then of course the usual battle royale stuff where you're just kind of walking around for a bit, waiting for things to happen. Yeah, even the house structure is just so much better, and then you add in the destruction, and it's kind of cool because I've often thought in Warzone it'd be like, on one hand that is the structure of Warzone, that you're safe in buildings and stuff. On the other hand, I always thought it would be neat if you could actually, as in real life, destroy walls and stuff if people are hiding behind them or stuck behind them. And it feels like a nice, modern environment. If that makes sense, like it looks like a real regular place that you would come across in California or something like that. See, my fridge, I bought a house recently, and my fridge that came with it doesn't have a water and ice dispenser, and it drives me crazy. So, yeah, make sure you're liking the video and watching stuff so that I can afford to buy a nicer fridge. I hate it. It's like I have spite towards my fridge, honestly. Like, it gets the job done, but, like, the freezer part of it, too, it's like it doesn't hold stuff properly. Like, the things, it's just, like, falls out, and it bothers me. Genuinely bothers me, yeah.
Got a new mission for you. Details on your map.
Cool. I can see how this might be cool to watch and take in, though, too, right? Especially when there's combat and action going on, and people living and dying, and trying to survive and upgrade your kits and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot to find interesting and like about this, I guess you would say.
Weapons drop about to hit the ground. Put it to good use.
A shotgun kit? Like, that's gonna do anything for me. A custom weapon drop? What? No way. And here on the base PlayStation 5, it's not terribly bad looking and stuff, and the performance in that is pretty good. It's not a bad way to go about playing this, that's certainly for sure. Are we pursuing these guns? I mean, we don't really need to, but... The guy really needs some armor. Maybe he doesn't even think he needs that, but... Anyways, yeah, no, I kind of like what they're doing with this. It's just... whether or not I'm super into Battle Royale still at this point, even too, right, is kind of the thing. and whether or not it'll retain my interest and intrigue. And I don't know. We'll see how it goes with this.